So I wrote this for Mad in America in honor of my friends that I lost to benzodiazepine withdrawal that doesn't exist. There is an optical illusion about every person we meet. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Tim, when I heard the news, I nearly collapsed in my bathroom. I felt his presence. It was more real than me writing these words to you. He told me, "Tell her it was an accident. I am so sorry. Tell her it was an accident." Those words repeated themselves to me for 4 days until his wife could call me to tell me that she was okay. It was a Tuesday. Tim Hunt kissed his wife on the cheek and said for her not to forget to wake him up the first thing next morning for a doctor's appointment. Don't forget, he shook his finger. 20 minutes later, his wife, while sleeping on the couch, awoke to a single gunshot. I never asked where the bullet pierced him. I wanted to remember him the way I last saw him. Army crew cut, big biceps, and shiny white teeth with a smile that was contagious to anyone who spoke to him. Hindsight is 20/20. There were no signs because the only sign that anyone needed to see was that he was on Ambien. A known side effect of Ambien is that people eat in their sleep, drive cars, get in wrecks, and wake up in jail not knowing how they got there. Although Ambien is a Z drug, it acts similar to a benzo and can harm inhibition. Would it be so hard to believe that a medication took away his inhibition? Josh was a part of our online support group for many months after learning that a slow taper was the method he should try instead of cold turkey Valium. He tapered over a year before he jumped off a tiny dose, probably less than 0.005 milligrams. There's no such thing as a small dose when your brain chemistry is affected. After jumping off, he experienced severe respiratory distress. He felt like there was a plastic bag over his head while trying to breathe through a straw. I imagine his chest felt like it was padlocked and caving in on itself. No matter how deep and slow he breathed, his body could not get satisfied from his last breath. Josh couldn't leave his couch, and he had to move in his parents at 43 years old. Josh had short brown hair, glasses. His Facebook profile picture was of him sitting in the bank of a shallow river. You could see the browns and oranges of river rock, tiny ripples of white water as it ran over them. Josh was smiling, as if about to skip a rock. Hiking boots and Columbia shorts, a well-worn blue t-shirt. On August 17, 2016, Josh shot himself. I never asked where the bullet landed. Members of the online support groups wrote public posts about how benzos had killed him, how the pharmaceutical industry had murdered him, and how suicide is not always a selfish act. Ever wonder what happened to Eminem? Why did he disappear for a few years? Xanax withdrawal. How about Jonathan Davis from Korn? Same thing. 20 years ago, it was Stevie Nicks and Klonopin. She was quoted as saying that withdrawal from Klonopin was worse than cocaine addiction, and it took her nearly 3 years to heal from it. I'm going to skip to the part that I wrote for survivors. You wouldn't know by looking at us. We look normal. We sound normal. We act normal. We came off drugs like these. Yeah, a stigma, taboo, don't talk about it, or they will call the authorities and have you locked into a white padded room, wearing only a hospital gown, no shoelaces. You wouldn't know that we are ex-mental patients, no longer believing the lie that we are broken and needing pills to fix it. Prozac deficient, Ativan malabsorption, round holes in our cells that only need their drugs. You wouldn't know that psychiatric medications are more dangerous than, say, heroin, crack, cocaine, any of them, really. You wouldn't know that Ativan did this to us, Xanax, Valium, Klonopin, tiny crumbly pills that we took as or less than prescribed. The Macklemore song plays in the background, my drug dealer was a doctor. But we aren't even addicts. Every day for years we twisted that lid back on, clack, clack, clack. You wouldn't know how long we endured these intense withdrawal symptoms that made us want to run screaming to our neighbors. You wouldn't know that if we were to do that, they would put our delicate and damaged brains on more meds.
We all made it here.
And then I was happy that it's like maybe
Hold on, I lost Wi-Fi. Fuck. Okay. Almost done.
Appreciate it, Ashley.
I appreciate those.
Wait. Okay, you wouldn't know if we were to do that, put us on more drugs. It would be like gasoline on a fire. Too many cells left naked after the drug was removed from the system. The biology, the physiology, and the psychopharmacology, they are all abnormal in us. You wouldn't have a frame of reference to relate to this, none. But please try to understand that we are suffering, that there is meaning in our words, that although we cannot quite touch our lives, we remember that the way that hair falls during a crew cut, the way that white water washes over the green and brown rocks, and the color blue as it reflects an invisible force that keeps us alive.
Spirit framing.